My name is Captain Elena Vance. I was 30 years old when my younger sister, Chloe, raised a crystal glass of Cabernet Sauvignon at her engagement gala, pointed at the medal on my dress uniform, and announced to nearly 150 guests, "Meet my fiancé, a real Army Ranger, and meet Elena, our family's fake soldier." Laughter rippled through the glass atrium. Before I could move, she stepped closer, smiled at the phone live streaming beside her, and emptied the dark wine directly over my ribbons and Defense Meritorious Service Medal. Wine soaked my jacket and ran down my nameplate. I didn't shout. I didn't flinch. I watched her fiancé, Major Liam Miller, look down at the restricted unit badge pinned beneath my medal. His smile vanished. His face turned ghost white, and his body went rigid. Seconds later, he snapped to attention so sharply that the entire room went silent. "Captain Vance," he barked, his voice trembling. Chloe stared at him in disbelief. She had no idea her livestream was already broadcasting her fraudulent charity scheme to thousands of viewers, or that the fake soldier she just humiliated was the officer who saved her fiancé's life. Before I tell you what Major Miller revealed to that room, and how Chloe's entire life unraveled on camera within 30 minutes, tell me in the comments below, what time is it where you are, and where are you watching from? I want to know how far this story travels. The Invisible Sister and the Shadow of Service. To understand how my sister ended up pouring red wine over my uniform in front of a room full of corporate executives and military brass, you have to understand the quiet dynamic that defined our home for as long as I can remember. Growing up in Savannah, Georgia, our family dynamic was strictly divided between the visible and the invisible. Chloe was 2 years younger than me, born with an effortless charisma that captured every room she walked into. She was photogenic, expressive, and fiercely obsessed with public approval. Our mother, Evelyn, treated Chloe like a delicate porcelain doll meant for display. If Chloe received a ribbon in high school drama club, it was framed in gold leaf in the main hallway. If she hosted a high school party, our mother would spend days decorating the house to ensure her daughter appeared like local royalty. I was different. I preferred solitude, logic, systems, and chess. When I was 17, while Chloe was managing her campaign for Homecoming Queen, I was building custom encryption software and studying signal processing. My father, a retired civil engineer who valued quiet work, understood me, but after he passed away during my sophomore year of college, the household shifted entirely around Chloe's son. When I accepted a commission into the United States Army after college, through an advanced cyber intelligence pipeline, my mother's reaction was disappointment. She complained that military dress uniforms weren't flattering on women and lamented that I wouldn't be around to help organize Chloe's college sorority galas. When I completed specialized training and was assigned to a joint cyber warfare element attached to Special Operations Command, strict non-disclosure agreements sealed my lips. I couldn't tell my family where I was going, what systems I operated, or why I spent 72 hours straight inside a sensitive compartmented information facility, SciFF, with no access to external phone lines. Because I couldn't share photos of my work, my family filled in the blanks with condescension. At Sunday dinners when I managed to take leave, Chloe took every opportunity to poke fun at my profession. She was working her way up as a senior event coordinator for Vanguard Media, a high-end public relations firm catering to corporate launches and wealthy donors. She wore tailored silk blazers, drove a luxury lease, and curated an Instagram feed followed by tens of thousands. "Look at Elena," Chloe would smirk across the dining table, passing the salad bowl. "Our resident laptop lieutenant. While real soldiers are out in the dust doing push-ups, Elena is fighting off paper jams and resetting passwords for generals who forgot their login codes." My mother would chuckle, patting Chloe's hand. "Now, Chloe, don't pick on your sister. Someone has to do the secretarial work in the military." I never argued. I held my tongue, took a sip of water, and let the comment float past. In cyber warfare, emotional discipline isn't an option. It's a fundamental requirement. If you lose your composure over words, you cannot be trusted when processing real-time satellite telemetry during high-threat operations, where human lives hang on a single keyframe. But my quiet refusal to engage only reinforced my sister's belief that my career was empty, meaningless, and ripe for exploitation. The Rangers' arrival and the fraudulent foundation everything. Everything shifted 6 months ago when Chloe met Major Liam Miller. Liam was an active-duty company commander within the 75th Ranger Regiment stationed at Hunter Army Airfield. He was built like iron, spoke with measured precision, and carried 2 combat deployments on his record. He was a true warrior, stoic, respectful, and intensely serious about his duties. For Chloe, meeting Liam wasn't just a romance. It was the ultimate branding opportunity. Within weeks of dating him, her social media transformed. She stopped posting merely about corporate galas and began posting photo shoots beside military bases, using tags like military spouse and military power couple. When Liam proposed to Chloe at a waterfront restaurant in downtown Savannah, Chloe's first thought wasn't about building a home. It was about organizing the grandest, most high-profile engagement gala Vanguard Media had ever managed. 2 months before the event, Chloe conceived a project designed to launch her independent standing within Savannah's elite circles, the Skyline Veterans Fund. On paper, it was pitched as a nonprofit foundation aimed at pairing transitioning special operations veterans with executive mentorship programs in tech and logistics. In reality, it was a hollow shell designed to collect corporate tax write-offs and elevate Chloe's standing prior to her promotion review at Vanguard Media. 3 weeks before the gala, I was at Fort Meade working a high-intensity operational rotation when my phone buzzed inside my locker during a rare shift transition. It was a call from Chloe. "Elena," Chloe's voice cracked through the receiver, sharp and demanding. "I need your official Army service uniform dress code confirmation for the 14th. I'm placing you on the VIP host table at the Mercer Glass Atrium." I leaned against the locker bank, rubbing my eyes. "Chloe, I told you I'm in the middle of an operational cycle. And military uniform regulations are strict. I cannot use my uniform as a background prop for a private event." "It's not a private event, Elena," Chloe snapped. "It's the official launch of Skyline Veterans Fund. Liam's battalion commander will be there. Corporate sponsors from Apex Financial are flying in. My fiancé is a decorated ranger who actually risks his life. You sit in an air-conditioned room looking at monitors. The least you can do for your sister is show up in dress blues so the event looks patriotic." "Chloe, I am an active officer, not in decoration," I replied calmly. "I will attend as your sister in formal civilian dress. I will not wear dress blues to advertise an organization I know nothing about." She hung up on me. 48 hours later, my junior analyst in the task force room handed me an iPad. "Ma'am, you might want to look at this. A sponsored ad popped up on regional military forums targeting Georgia residents." I looked at the screen. My heart sank. It was a promotional graphic for the Skyline Veterans Fund launch gala. Side by side with a photograph of Major Liam Miller in his dress uniform was an official, high-resolution portrait of me in my Army service uniform, taken during my promotion to captain. Beside my image, in bold gold lettering, was the text, "Guided by elite military advisors, Captain Elena Vance, Strategic Cyber Liaison and Executive Director of Operational Oversight." Beneath my portrait was an altered graphic of my task force insignia, a restricted unit seal that had never been cleared for public release. Chloe had raided my private cloud storage folder, which we shared for family photos, stolen my official military portrait, photoshopped a fake title onto my name, and deployed it across commercial social media channels to recruit high-net-worth corporate sponsors. The SIF warning and the legal escalation. I immediately executed a background query on the state registry for Skyline Veterans Fund LLC. What I uncovered was damning. The entity had been registered barely 12 days prior under Chloe's personal employee account at Vanguard Media. There was no tax-exempt 501 Seg 3 authorization on file. There was no independent board of directors. There was no financial escrow account. All online credit card donations made through the gala's pre-registration landing page were being funneled directly into a single merchant account tied to a personal limited liability company owned solely by Chloe Vance. She was using my military rank, my unit image, and her fiancé's combat reputation to solicit money from corporate executives under the guise of veteran charity, while holding the funds in a personal account. I called Chloe immediately. She answered on the third ring, her voice backgrounded by loud venue construction noise. "Chloe, listen to me very carefully," I said, my tone as cold and precise as an operational briefing. "You have pulled my official military photograph, fabricated a title, altered a classified unit symbol, and posted it publicly to raise money. That is a direct violation of federal law and military uniform regulations. Remove the graphics and take my name off that site within 1 hour. Chloe burst into a high-pitched, dismissive laugh. Oh, calm down, Captain Cyber. You should be thanking me. I'm making your boring desk job look prestigious. Nobody cares about your little tech department unless I wrap it in a pretty package for corporate donors. Chloe, this isn't a joke, I said. It is wire fraud and unauthorized endorsement. If you do not take it down, I will be forced to file a formal report. Go ahead and cry to your computer, she scoffed. Mom was right about you. You can't stand seeing me succeed. If you ruin my launch night, I'll make sure Mom never speaks to you again. She ended the call. 10 minutes later, she sent me a single thumbs-up emoji on text messaging and left the advertisements running. I didn't panic. Instead, I drafted a formal written cease and desist letter, explicitly stating that I did not grant permission for the commercial or charitable use of my name, image, rank, or insignia. I emailed it to her personal and professional addresses, copying Vanguard Media's public relations legal inbox. Then, following standard operating procedures, I requested an urgent meeting with my battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel Vance. Inside his office, Colonel Vance reviewed the documentation, the screenshot advertisements, and the state registry filings. His expression turned gravely severe. Captain Vance, Colonel Vance said, leaning over his desk, this goes far beyond a petty family dispute. An individual is utilizing an active cyber warfare officer's credentials and restricted unit imagery to solicit funds from defense contractors and corporate executives. If this entity collects money under your name without official authorization, your security clearance and your commission are on the line. I understand, sir, I replied, standing at attention. I have issued a formal written cease and desist. I request permission to attend the event off-duty, to ensure compliance and gather evidence if the unauthorized imagery is displayed. Permission granted, Colonel Vance said sternly. Wear your formal Army service uniform. If anyone asks, you are there as an officer observing full compliance. Do not endorse the entity. Do not speak to press. Protect your uniform, Captain. Yes, sir. The glass atrium and the gathering storm. On the evening of October 14th, the Mercer Glass Atrium in downtown Savannah was transformed into a glittering palace of false patriotism. Towering glass walls opened up to the starry Georgia night sky, illuminated by warm golden spotlights. Massive silk American flags hung from the ceiling arches. Ice sculptures carved into the shape of eagles melted slowly beside raw bar displays. High society donors, corporate CEOs, local politicians, and active duty officers in formal mess dress wandered through the space sipping champagne. I arrived 30 minutes before the official start, dressed in my crisp Army service uniform. My dark blue jacket was tailored to perfection, my brass buttons polished to a mirror finish. On my chest sat my ribbon rack, including the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, and pinned subtly beneath it, the silver insignia of Task Force Viper. As I walked into the main lobby, my stomach tightened. Directly beside the center stage stood an 8-foot-tall vinyl sponsor wall. In the center, surrounded by gold leaf borders, was my high-resolution promotion portrait. Beneath it was a golden plaque that read, Captain Elena Vance, Lead Military Operations Advisor and Founding Director. They had taken my written warnings and ignored them completely. I pulled out my secure phone and began quietly taking high-resolution, time-stamped photographs of the banner, the promotional brochures on the tables, and the digital donation kiosks set up near the entrance. What are you doing taking photos of the decor like a tourist? A voice sharp with annoyance cut through the ambient orchestra music. I turned to see Chloe. She looked striking in a silver floor-length silk gown, holding a glass of Cabernet Sauvignon. Her hair was styled in elaborate curls, and her expression was filled with triumphant arrogance. I am documenting evidence of non-compliance, Chloe, I said calmly. I sent you a legal cease and desist email 9 days ago. You had no authorization to use my portrait or claim I am your founding director. Chloe stepped closer, her voice dropping to an aggressive whisper. Listen to me, you pathologically cold freak. Tonight is the biggest night of my career. Vanguard Media's CEO, Victoria Sterling, is standing right over there with the board of Apex Financial. They are preparing to write a $100,000 corporate matching check for Skyline Veterans Fund. If you say one word to ruin this for me, I will make sure Mom cuts you out of the family forever. You are committing commercial fraud, Chloe, I stated directly, staring into her eyes. The merchant portal is routing public money into your personal LLC account. That isn't family drama. That is a federal felony. Before Chloe could lash out, Major Liam Miller walked up to us. He looked imposing in his army mess dress uniform, complete with his ranger tab, combat infantryman badge, and multiple deployment ribbons. Elena, Liam greeted me with a firm, respectful handshake. I'm glad you made it. Chloe mentioned you took leave from Fort Meade to be here. Good evening, Major, I responded politely. Liam's eyes drifted to my chest. He looked at my ribbon rack, lingering on the Defense Meritorious Service Medal and the small silver shield badge pinned beneath it. A slight frown flickered across his forehead, a look of deep analytical recognition, as if trying to place a piece of memory that didn't quite fit. That unit badge? Liam started, pointing slightly. I haven't seen that shield since. Oh, Liam, don't waste your military talk on Elena. Chloe interrupted instantly, sliding her arm through his and pulling him away. She handles computer setup and router maintenance at a desk. Let's go introduce you to Mr. Sterling before the presentation starts. Liam allowed himself to be led away, but he looked back over his shoulder at me twice, his brow furrowed in thought. For the next 45 minutes, I stood near the back of the atrium. 3 separate corporate executives approached me. Captain Vance, an older gentleman from a major logistics firm said, shaking my hand warmly. Your sister told us all about your oversight on the Skyline Veterans Project. It's so rare to see active tactical officers helping structure civilian transition pipelines. My firm just donated $5,000 at the front kiosk based on your organization's credentials. I looked the executive straight in the eye. Sir, I must inform you that I am attending strictly as Chloe's sister. I have no operational, legal, or advisory role in Skyline Veterans Fund, and the United States Armed Forces do not endorse this private entity. The executive blinked in confusion. Wait, what? But the display wall says, I suggest you verify all tax-exempt filings before making further financial contributions, I added quietly. Uncertainty began to spread like wildfire among the high-table donors. Whispers began to ripple across the room. The public humiliation on live stream at 8 p.m. sharp. The ambient lighting inside the atrium dimmed, and bright white spotlights illuminated the main stage. Chloe stepped up to the podium holding a wireless microphone. Right beside the stage, an assistant had positioned a professional camera rig holding a flagship smartphone, live streaming the entire gala across Vanguard Media's official social channels, which boasted over 80,000 active followers and corporate subscribers. Good evening, Savannah, Chloe announced, her polished voice echoing through the glass pavilion. Tonight, we celebrate honor, community, and the launch of the Skyline Veterans Fund. Thanks to our early corporate partners, I am thrilled to announce that we have already raised over $30,000 tonight alone. Applause broke out across the room. Corporate sponsors clapped while Victoria Sterling, CEO of Vanguard Media, nodded approvingly from the front table. Chloe's smile widened, but her eyes locked onto me, sitting at table 3 alongside our mother. Now most of you know my handsome fiancé, Major Liam Miller, Chloe continued into the microphone, her tone turning performatively sweet. A decorated ranger who risks his life on the front lines protecting our nation's freedom. The crowd cheered. Liam gave a brief, humble nod from his seat. And some of you might have noticed my older sister, Captain Elena Vance, sitting right here in the front row, Chloe said, pointing the spotlight toward my table. Elena also serves in the Army, in her own special way. Scattered, hesitant laughter fluttered through the room. Chloe leaned into the microphone, dripping with venomous condescension. While real heroes like Liam jump out of airplanes and face enemy fire, Elena fights the terrifying battle against bad Wi-Fi connections and frozen screens from a leather office chair. Every army needs someone to reboot the office router, right? The room went uncomfortably quiet. Several corporate guests looked down at their plates. My mother, sitting beside me, chuckled softly, patting my arm. See? She's just breaking the ice, Elena. Lighten up. Chloe stepped off the stage, holding her glass of red wine, and walked slowly toward my table, while the live stream operator followed her every step. Elena, stand up, Chloe demanded loudly into the microphone, stopping right beside my chair. Let all our corporate sponsors see the uniform taxpayer money pays for. Or are you afraid everyone will realize you're just a fake soldier using a uniform to feel important? I sat motionless, my posture erect, looking straight into her eyes with stone-cold military discipline. Turn off the live stream, Chloe. You are crossing a legal and personal boundary you cannot repair. Oh, look. Chloe crowed directly to the live camera feed. The keyboard captain is getting defensive. Tell us, Elena, what intense battle did you win to earn those shiny brass ribbons on your chest? Did you order them on Amazon, or did you earn them for typing 50 words a minute? Liam stood up sharply from his seat. Chloe, that is enough. Put the microphone down and sit down. No, Liam, Chloe snapped, turning back to the camera with a manic grin. Everyone needs to see the truth. My sister comes to my event, tries to intimidate my sponsors, and pretends she's an elite officer when she's nothing more than a gloried desk clerk. In a sudden, malicious motion, Chloe raised her glass and tipped it forward. A full glass of dark Cabernet Sauvignon splashed across my face, my neck, and the front of my army service uniform. The deep red liquid soaked through my crisp white dress shirt, ran down my gold lapels, and dripped heavily over my nameplate, my ribbon rack, and my Defense Meritorious Service Medal. The recognition and the snap-to-attention gasps of horror erupted across the atrium. My mother covered her mouth in shock. Guests at nearby tables stood up in disbelief. Chloe stood over me, her hand holding the empty crystal glass, a look of vicious satisfaction on her face. She expected me to break. She expected me to scream, cry, or slap her. Anything that would frame me as hysterical on her live stream. I didn't flinch. I didn't blink. I calmly reached into my jacket pocket, pulled out a clean white linen handkerchief, and slowly wiped a single drop of red wine from my jawline. Then, with steady, unhurried precision, I used the handkerchief to gently blot the dark liquid running off the brass medals on my chest. Major Liam Miller shoved past 2 chairs and stepped between us, his face furious. Chloe, what the hell are you doing? I'm showing everyone who she really is, Chloe yelled back, pointing at my chest. She's a fake. Liam didn't look at Chloe. His eyes were glued to my chest. As the wine dripped off the edge of my ribbon rack, it washed away the surface residue over the small silver unit insignia pinned directly beneath my medals, exposing a silver shield featuring a stylized lightning bolt slicing through a globe, flanked by 3 blackened stars. Liam's chest stopped moving. His eyes widened until they looked ready to burst. All the color drained from his face until he was ghost white. He leaned down, his voice barely a whisper. Task Force Viper? Chloe rolled her eyes in frustration. Oh, please, Liam. Don't fall for her stupid tactical toys. Quiet, Liam roared. The sheer power of his command voice rattled the glass windows of the atrium. The entire room, 150 guests, waiters, executives, and photographers, went completely silent. Liam turned slowly toward me. He didn't see the wine stain. He didn't see the dark liquid dripping onto my pants. He looked directly into my eyes with an overwhelming expression of awe and reverence. Slowly, deliberately, Major Liam Miller brought his feet together, locked his knees, squared his shoulders, raised his right hand to his brow, and snapped into the crispest, most rigid military hand salute I had ever seen. Captain Vance, Liam declared, his voice trembling with emotion as it reverberated across the silent hall. Operation Black Amber, October 14th, Eastern Syria. Call sign Viper 6. Was that your task force? I maintained my stoic posture, sitting tall in my chair. I cannot discuss operational details or call signs in an unsecured environment, Major. Liam lowered his salute, his hand visibly shaking. He turned away from me and faced the entire room, his voice booming like thunder. 18 months ago, Liam announced to the stunned crowd. My ranger platoon was caught in a lethal kill zone, in a blind valley near Deir ez-Zor. We were pinned down by heavy mortar fire. Our satellite communications were completely jammed by enemy EW systems, and 2 weaponized drone swarms were vectoring to annihilate our position. We were 20 seconds away from being wiped out. Liam pointed a trembling finger directly at the silver badge pinned beneath my stained medals. Out of nowhere, an off-grid cyber unit intercepted the enemy satellite array, overrode their jamming frequencies, took control of the hostile drone swarms, and redirected our extraction helicopter through heavy anti-aircraft fire. The officer sitting right here, the woman my fiancé just poured wine over, authorized that strike and saved the lives of 16 Rangers that night. The room gasped in collective shock. Liam turned back to Chloe, his face twisted in absolute disgust. You called her a desk clerk? You called her a fake soldier? Captain Elena Vance is the reason I am standing here breathing tonight. The total unraveling and the felony exposure. A wave of intense murmurs swept through the venue. Several retired senior military officers in the audience stood up from their tables. A retired brigadier general walked slowly across the floor, stopped in front of me, looked closely at my unit insignia, and rendered a slow, respectful salute. I returned the nod with quiet dignity. Chloe's face turned bright crimson. Her smug smile was completely gone, replaced by hyperventilating terror. Liam, no. You're wrong. She's lying. She probably read about your mission in a news article. Operation Black Amber was classified top secret, Chloe. Liam shouted, his voice cracking with anger. It was never published. It isn't on the internet. Only the operators who pulled us out knew that call sign. At that exact moment, Victoria Sterling, CEO of Vanguard Media, marched toward the stage, accompanied by two senior corporate legal officers. She held an iPad in her hand, showing the live stream chat feed, where tens of thousands of online comments were exploding in real time. Did she just pour wine on a combat hero? Skyline Veterans Fund is a scam. Report Vanguard Media to the State Attorney General. Arrest Chloe Vance. Cut the stream. Victoria barked at the technical crew. Cut the feed right now. Victoria, please. Chloe sobbed, sprinting toward her boss, her silver dress catching on her heels. It's just a family misunderstanding. Elena set me up. Shut up, Chloe. Victoria snapped with vicious precision. She turned to Vanguard Media's chief financial officer. Pull up the merchant terminal gateway for the Skyline Veterans Fund donations immediately. The accountant opened his laptop and typed rapidly. Within seconds, his face drained of color. Miss Sterling, the accountant reported loudly, making sure every executive near the stage heard. The donation gateway registered to this gala is not linked to a tax-exempt nonprofit trust. All $30,000 collected tonight, along with $15,000 in pre-registration fees, is routing directly into a personal holding account owned solely by Chloe Vance under Vance Lux Events, LLC. A loud collective gasp echoed through the atrium. Corporate sponsors immediately stood up, demanding their checks back. I was going to transfer the money later, Chloe shrieked, tears smearing her mascara into black streaks down her face. I didn't steal anything. You solicited tens of thousands of dollars from our corporate clients using unauthorized military portraits, fake advisory titles, and an unverified charity. Victoria shouted, That is felony wire fraud and commercial impersonation. Victoria turned to the venue security officers standing by the main doors. Freeze the merchant gateway immediately and refund every single dollar to the donors. Chloe Vance, you are fired effective immediately, and Vanguard Media will be turning over all audit logs to the police. The broken ring and the final payoff, Chloe, collapsed onto her knees beside the main stage, sobbing hysterically. She looked desperately toward our mother. Mom, do something. Tell them Elena approved the photos. Tell them she's lying. Our mother rushed forward, but instead of comforting Chloe, she turned on me with eyes full of rage. Elena! My mother hissed, grabbing my stained sleeve. Look at what you've done to your sister. Fix this right now. Tell the CEO you gave her permission. You're ruined her life. I stood up slowly from my chair. Standing at my full height in my dress blues, I looked down at my mother with absolute, unwavering clarity. No, Mother, I said, my voice quiet, steady, and unbreakable. I warned Chloe in writing 9 days ago. She chose deceit, vanity, and theft. I will not commit perjury to protect her illusion. I removed my mother's hand from my arm and stepped away. Major Liam Miller walked slowly toward Chloe. He looked down at her as she wept on the floor, his eyes filled with profound disappointment and disgust. Liam, baby, please, Chloe pleaded, reaching for his leg. I did it for us. I wanted us to be Savannah's top power couple. You used my uniform, my service, and your sister's classified sacrifice to build a fraudulent lie, Liam said softly, his voice devoid of any warmth. I don't even know who you are. Liam unclasped his left hand, slowly pulled off his heavy gold engagement ring, and dropped it into the empty wine glass Chloe had used to humiliate me. He turned toward me, faced me directly, and rendered one final, deep military salute. "Captain Vance, I offer you my deepest apologies for the disrespect shown to you tonight by someone who wore my name," Liam said clearly. "At ease, Major," I replied softly. I picked up my leather clutch, adjusted my wine-stained jacket, and turned toward the main entrance. As I walked down the center aisle of the Mercer glass atrium, the entire room, corporate executives, military officers, civil leaders, and venue staff, silently parted down the middle. Dozens of military personnel stood at attention as I passed. I stepped out of the glass pavilion into the crisp, clean night air. The wine on my shirt felt cool against my skin, but inside my chest, I felt lighter than I had in 15 years. I was completely free from the toxic expectations of a family that had spent decades trying to dim my light. The fallout in the weeks that followed was total. Chloe was formally indicted for wire fraud and criminal misrepresentation. Vanguard Media sued her for corporate damages, and Army JAG issued a permanent restraining order prohibiting her from utilizing military imagery. My mother attempted to call me dozens of times to beg for financial assistance with Chloe's legal fees, but I established a firm boundary. Self-respect is the price of admission to my life. 8 months later, my task force gathered at Fort Meade for a formal honors ceremony. Standing in formation alongside my fellow cyber operators, analysts, and technicians, Colonel Vance pinned a new Joint Meritorious Unit Award onto my clean dress uniform, replacing the ribbon rack that had been stained that night in Savannah. I kept that wine-stained Defense Meritorious Service Medal in a clear glass box on my desk at home. Not as a reminder of family betrayal, but as a monument to a fundamental truth: silent discipline will always stand tall when noisy deception crumbles. If you believe that true honor doesn't need to shout to prove its worth, hit the like button and subscribe to the Silent Valkyrie. Tell me in the comments below, would you have protected your sister or let the truth speak for itself? All characters and events in this story are fictional creations designed for narrative entertainment. Thank you for watching, and remember, your peace should never collapse just to preserve someone else's illusion. Stay strong, and I'll see you in the next story.